Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast. It's the Monday mashup, and what a weekend it was. Joining me tonight, all guns blazing, both barrels out, our resident referee, baby Elvis himself. Mark, how are you, my friend?
Hello, cuz. Thanks for having me on this quiet. It should be a quiet episode anyway about the
Very
weekend's
quiet,
Premier League.
isn't it? What's the story there?
I don't know.
It's really quiet.
We might have to talk about the Championship or something, or even League One. Blackpool winning against Barnsley.
It's very quiet there tonight. What's going on?
Oh, I don't know.
Have you found a new studio or something in the back of the shop or something like that?
I'm in the shed.
From me shed, son, yeah.
That's it. All the kids are in bed, so happy out.
Well, safe to say now we've had a heck of a weekend. I was nearly putting my fist through walls and everything at this stage.
I'd say so. I was the same, but for different reasons, obviously, you know.
Okay. Let's go into the chat first of all. Morris is in. September goal of the month. Havertz 1, Chelsea 0. They're making up for it tonight, though, just to let people know. Half time 2-0. Michaela Mudryk getting the goal in 18 minutes. Nice and tidy little goal. And then Brozier with a kind of a deflection into the net a minute later, making it 2-0. Cucurella booked.
Nice. So good evening, Morris.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hope you're keeping well.
So that's the half time. We'll keep you abreast of anything that happens there. Eno's in as always. What's the crack, Niall? All good. Plenty to talk about. I have a lot of stuff to do this week with what's going on between football and wrestling. Chelsea are back. Will you be doing Chelsea shows? Might do a few shorts.
Talking of wrestling, I heard someone appeared at AEW. Was it last night?
Joined the Edge. The Rated R Adam Copeland, yeah. There came out as the Rated R as well. Apparently WWE dropped the ball on the trademark. And also came out the Alter Bridge as well, Metalingus. Got the permission of his buddy in Alter Bridge to use the song as well. So,
big Q for Tony.
Got a good reception and signed a full-time contract. So he ain't part-time either, so he's going to be on the weekly shows as well as the
wrestling.
So,
properly.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, enough of that nonsense. Let's get into this Premier League. We're going to shoot through these results pretty quick because we have got a lot to talk about tonight. I want to get your views on a lot of this stuff. Started off, Aston Villa 6, Brighton 1.
Didn't see that coming at all.
I don't even think Unai Emery did.
No, bad day at the office, wasn't it?
Yeah,
mind you, another VAR as well. Did you see the Villa player standing in the eye line of the goalkeeper, kind of similar to the Man City one a few weeks ago and stuff like that, you know?
Similar to your own one on Saturday.
Yeah, as well, yeah. But we won't get it. Yeah, we'll get into that in a few minutes.
Yeah. We'll do so. Arsenal with a big win, 4-0 against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Looks very, very tidy. Kai Havertz getting one. Getting a
what's going on with Morris? What's going on with Jesus? He hasn't scored in God knows how long.
In fairness, have they thrown him out on the left? Is he out on the left now?
I think he has been playing, but he's been used to that playing for City. He used to play off the left and the right for City. Sorry, sorry. I just thought I'd bring it up, you know.
Very inconsistent, both teams, but will have good seasons. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. That's Villa and Brighton Morris is talking about. Yeah, but a big win for Arsenal. And I suppose with the result, we'll get to it now in a minute, the Man City one getting beaten 2-1 by Wolves has kind of blown the league open a little bit there, I say. Interesting one there.
Especially this early on in the season. In fairness, I know we'll get down to it, but Wolves haven't been playing bad football. They just haven't been putting away their chances. I think a performance like that has been brewing over the first few games. And, you know, I tipped them to be relegated, but when you see them playing the style they play, all they're missing is that end product, that goal. They have been creating chances, but they just haven't been putting them away. And their day came on Saturday when they eventually got a massive win against Man City.
Yeah, we have to mention Luton 2, Everton 1. Go on to Luton.
Unreal, man. What a win, you know, first 3 points in the Premier League away to Everton. Everton are, they're going to struggle. They're going to struggle big time. And I know that kind of breaks your heart a bit, doesn't it? Only over the road from your own team.
Liverpool 1, Everton 2, as it says at the shopping centre, doesn't it? Liverpool 1 and all. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, no, it's do you know, in truth, if I'm out here and I'm talking truth, I actually don't want them to get relegated. I need that Merseyside derby, that good 6 points every season. So
Yeah.
Morris
Especially in
in.
that new stadium as well.
I love if you listen to any of the match reactions after the matches for Arsenal. He's called Jesus. He's called Jesus.
Jesus,
He's
yeah.
called Jesus. He's called uses. Like everyone has a
Everything.
different pronunciation for it, but Morris is there, bang on, absolutely.
Yeah.
Chelsea pulling away from Luton.
At the moment. Just for now, well, Dal Morris, you never know.
Just for now. This is a big half to come up, don't worry about that. Newcastle 2, Burnley 0. Decent win for Newcastle. Not unforeseen.
And Harvey Barnes went off injured after a few minutes, and I think he's going to be out for a few months as well. So
yeah, saying that, yeah, big knock for Newcastle. Actually, he was doing well as well. He was doing very well, giving Eddie those options that he wanted.
Especially with the Champions League football, playing 2 games a week as well. You need as many options as you can. So
yeah, absolutely. I'm going to start with you then. Man United 0, Crystal Palace 1.
Yeah.
Talk to me about United. Talk to me about Ten Hag. Talk to me about why you would swap out 2 guys in form for 2 guys not in form.
Well, firstly, I don't know how Marcus Rashford starts a game of football ahead of the likes of Garnacho. I know Ten Hag came out and said Garnacho's distribution hasn't been great in the first few games, but how in God's name is Marcus Rashford warranting and starting the Manchester United jersey is beyond me. Like we started off and we tried to overcomplicate playing football, to be honest with you. We didn't look like a team. I'll tell you one thing. Hughes on Saturday with 9 men looked more of a unit and a team than we did with 11 men against Palace. Do you know what I mean? There's so much discontent there. You look at Bruno and he doesn't want to know. And like I said, we're putting a lot of pressure on ourselves. Palace, in fairness, they did, like someone said, it was a 1 in a million shot, this, that, and the other. But Palace created chances. And I had to pull off a few saves as well, Then he, like you said, drops Hannibal. For what reason?
Well, see, I suppose with people saying that, you could turn around and go, well, the Bruno finish against Burnley was 1 in a million.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You can't use that as an argument. I thought it was a tidy finish. I do accept the fact that there was 2 guys offside in the goalkeeper's line and stuff like that.
But listen, we shouldn't be relying on that type of decision. You're at home against Crystal Palace, and listen, Crystal Palace are a very good team. Roy Hodgson has them drilled well. We bet them on Tuesday night, and we bet them convincingly. We played some good football. I thought Armorbach starting at left full as well. Like he had a decent game in the League Cup against them, but it's not his position. You see, he thought he was playing Gaelic the first 20 minutes. I think he had about 2 or 3 handballs as well. Like we just don't look like a team. Our passing is shocking. I was looking at
no end product.
No end product at all.
What did you got? 4 chances created, I think.
He brought on Ericsson towards the end. We had a corner in the 90th minute. Ericsson couldn't get the corner by the first man on the post, and you're looking going. Now, he brought on Harry Maguire, and I can't understand when he brought Maguire on, okay? Lindelof was looking tired. He's a big man. Just leave him in the box for the last few minutes. You know what I mean? He's a big lad, but Harry Maguire got absolute abuse on social media. I know, listen, his pass near the end went out for a throw and stuff, but I can understand why you brought him on, if you know what I mean. Casemiro looked absolutely wrecked. After an hour, his legs looked gone, we've no midfield. Hoyland, to me, he still doesn't look like 100% fit. He's probably 90 to 95% fit. There's times Rashford had the ball on the left, and you're just thinking, yourself as a coach goes, simple ball, look up, get the ball into the box. He's trying to take on about 4 or 5 players, and he loses the ball then.
Called it 2 weeks. Called it 2 weeks ago on our show. Remember, said he keeps on trying to cut inside instead of going around the outside and delivering the pass. I think Morris is right here as well with Ericsson. I think Ericsson is finished, to be honest. I think that last injury he got has done him. He came back from that injury, and he looked absolutely shocking. And I also called it about, I think, on 2-3 shows ago with you as well, that I thought that he was playing Lissandro injured, that he wasn't fully fit and hadn't been fully fit. He looked like he was really struggling. and
She
stuff like
went
that.
over
And lo
to
and behold, look
Argentina
what happens.
injured. Like, it doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Like, that's when you need your club doctor to step in and say, no, he's not traveling. He's injured. He's staying here. He travelled to Argentina wearing a boot.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense.
What do you like? I think Ten Hag. I think some of his in-game management and some of his decisions are quite suspect at times. What did you make of him dropping Hannibal? I thought, which was like I said that I was talking to Darren during the week, and I said, surely the God Hannibal on those performances has to be a shoe in to start.
Yeah,
Bring that
absolutely.
energy, because that midfield, it's either so imbalanced or has no energy in it at all. And he comes on and he's like a ball of energy to lift the game and lift the energy for people around him. Now, I know he's only a young lad and stuff like that, but I think you're right. I think with Ten Hag, I think this Rashford situation, and I know the squad at the moment is quite tender. There's a lot going on. There's Sancho, there's Anthony, there's Greenwood, there's lots of stuff going on, lots of players not playing in form, lots of players looking around to find an answer off people, similar to the way we were last year. Remember, a lot of finger pointing, a lot of staring, a lot of that kind of stuff going on, no one wanting to take responsibility. And I just think at the moment, I said to Darren during the week, do you think Ten Hag will have the balls to make the decisions that need to be made to drop the Rashford? Or would that spread through the squad and literally become the fuse that lights his downfall? Or, you know what I mean? And that's, I suppose that's what he's concerned as well. Now, he did a presser today for the Galatasaray one, the game tomorrow night. He didn't sound too convincing either. He sounded like he was going to continue playing Rashford and try and play him back into form and stuff like that.
No, it's you're flogging a dead horse. Like the Hannibal situation, Hannibal done more running against Burnley than I've seen several senior players do over the last few seasons. He was a ball of energy, and I always say this: these young lads, you throw them in, they want to make an impression. You know, they've no fear. You look at Rashford; he got a £350,000 a week contract and he stopped playing football. Hannibal's probably on pittance at the minute, which and he's willing to go out there and play for the badge at the moment as well. Ten Hag, listen, I've tried to. Yes, listen, we're unlucky with injuries, but every club at some stage goes through this kind of period where they have injuries. This is why you have a 25-man squad. You bring some of the youth in and use them. But what I will say as well is I have been supportive of Ten Hag, but it comes to a point where you're going the manager's there to motivate players and get the best out of the players. Is he getting the best out of the players? And you look at the training regime, how are all these injuries coming about and stuff like that? So there is questions coming into my mind, but it just goes from bad to worse,
Yeah, that's your injury table list there at the moment. You're currently lying, I think, fourth, is it fifth?
Yeah.
You got Chelsea, you have 10, Sheffield United have 9, Palace have 9 injuries.
Yeah.
Palace have 9 injuries. Newcastle have 9 injuries, and you have 8 injuries.
Yeah.
So I get that. But listen, I said this, and I said it the other night on the show as well, another channel that I was on. I turned around and I said, when Jurgen Klopp 2 or 3 years ago started mouthing on about player welfare and stuff like that, everyone laughed at him, told him to shut up and not talking nonsense and all that. And now it's coming home to roost with all these games, World Cups, all this kind of stuff going on, international breaks. These lads are being ran into the ground. And
you look at that, you look at that list now, because we're just coming into October. That's a list you probably look at it in February or March. After most of the season is done. That's not a list that you look at and go, this, what we 2nd of October now today. That's not a list like that. Like I said, obviously you could add Anthony on the list, and obviously with Greenwood and stuff like that, the players that aren't available, obviously not through injury. I think Anthony's meant to be back Carrington today or yesterday or something like that.
He's back training. He's available for tomorrow night now, but that's going to be a big decision as well, because he was asked at the presser today about the whole domestic violence thing and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So I don't know whether he'd take that leap of faith or not. I think if he's given in all the information and he's working with the police on the inquiry and no formal charges are being made or anything like that, it's all just hearsay. I don't see a reason why he wouldn't play, you know what I mean? Until
we need him as well. I know listen, even when he was playing this season, he hasn't been great himself, but again, he'll get up and down and do a job for you. But it was just, listen, it was a disaster. Fair play to Palace, they held on. Like I said, they played some good football and took their chance. And create a few
it happened with us last season as well. We started last season with 11 first-time injuries.
Yeah.
At the start of last season as well. We were told get on with it.
Exactly. Every club goes through it. That's why I'm not bored. There's lads on social media trying to play a violin over this whole thing. Like, lads, injuries are injuries. It happens. It happens to every team over a certain period of time.
Yeah.
Over the season, Liverpool are going to have injuries, like you just seen on that. Everyone is. Like, so don't be playing the bleeding martyr and be like, oh, this, that, and the other, and start feeling sorry for ourselves. We need, like, the likes of Palestri and Garnacho now, we have to blood into the team. And the only way to do that is when there's injuries, when there's opportunities for them to be able to come into the team. And like I said, we have a lot of youth there. Like I said, 25, squad of 25 that you have for the season. We're famously known for bringing in young lads and giving them opportunities.
It's your DNA.
Exactly. So, but now at the moment, I actually don't know what the story is now with Ten Hag. I'm starting Rashford all the time. Like I spoke to a lot of people. I was speaking to my dad about it yesterday. We were over at Uncle Tom's. It's an absolute disgrace when you see him starting a game of football. Like,
yeah, I suppose as I can see Ten Hag's problem as well. Just the thought of potential squad reaction and stuff like that and all. You know what I mean? It's just it could be Morris is saying Katie McCabe as well, new contract. Arsenal.
Seeing that the other day, Edu over her shoulder and stuff like that. So yeah, she's some player.
Yeah. Right. Now that we've parked that, we'll talk about European football briefly in a bit.
Yeah.
Spurs 2, Liverpool 1. Take me through it. Explain this to me, how this comes about.
It's Jesus. It's the biggest error I've seen in a long time. Listen, we've seen some other kind of smaller errors, let's say, involving VAR over the last 2 or 3 years. This was a monumental disaster, like absolutely. How I blame the VAR assistant who was there. I think Darren England was the main VAR.
He was the VAR.
So his is, I think it was Q was his assistant.
Yeah.
The communication breakdown there is an absolute disgrace. Like, people text me and we were talking about it and working all day today, but like VAR's coming in, brought in to help the referees for clear and obvious mistakes. This is one of the biggest mistakes you'll ever see. I don't think you will get something bigger than this. Like, he's clearly onside. And then I'll get on to that in a minute. Morris is just saying your thing there, but
let's go first.
Yeah, no, but I did, like, when he said check complete, he thought the referee had given a goal. Now there's 3 people in the VAR
all watching the game.
All watching the game. Now you've your VAR, the head of VAR, and you have his assistant, but then you have a third man who's in charge of Hawkeye. So if there's say Darren England, say in the 38th minute, he'll press a button, your man will get the footage from the 38th minute, have it ready from Hawkeye. I say he was sitting there biting his lip going, what the hell are you doing, lads? Because he's clearly onside by about 2 or 3 yards.
He's onside by, it was 63 centimetres. So it was over 2.5 school rulers.
Yeah.
So like this wasn't a toenail or armpit hair
this is quite clear.
Clearly onside.
This is clear, and check complete. Now, when
how come tell us this? How come there was no further communication? Because it took nearly a minute then to restart the game. How come there was no communication within that minute? Now we're talking about we have a referee, we have a 4th official, we have 2 linesmen, and we've 3 guys in the VAR booth.
Yeah.
How is there no communication from any of those guys?
There should
surely
have been.
Saying it was a shit show and someone had to come out and fix that. No matter who it was, and turn around and go, no, stop this quick, because they're playing on. They haven't given the goal. They obviously would have seen the linesman flagging as well, because it went straight to him. He flagged for the offside.
If they didn't see that, they should be absolutely sacked. The reason they knew they fecked up is because when the game should have been restarted by a kick off in the middle for the goal, but when they seen the free kick for the offside, that's when they started panicking. And they had no. What minute was that, cuz? 32 or 30.
Yeah, it was something like that, yeah.
So from that minute to halftime, they had no communication with the referee whatsoever. They knew it was the biggest mistake they've ever made. Like now, the third guy in the VAR has no ruling whatsoever. He's in charge of Hawkeye. So basically, if Darren England on the day says, right, I need you, he'll go over that your man and Hawkeye will get the clips ready for the VAR to be able to say call the referee over to look at the screen for the the offside. Sorry, but like. Yeah, no, sorry, Mario. So just reading your thing. The laws of the game is when the game restarts, you can't pull it back. Now I was listening to, I think it was Stephen, was it? Yeah, exactly. They know communication with him. It's one of the biggest breakdowns I've ever seen ever. Like people are saying they should have called the referee should have called the managers over and discussed it or whatever. Like remember like Leeds and Villa that time where I think it was Villa
team just walks a goal in. Team just walks a goal
exactly. In. But the laws of the game state the referee he can't do anything. He's like Marv says, he's powerless. He can't do anything unless the lads from above tell him what to do. It's just an absolute joke.
I understand if like your arm in an unnatural position is kind of subjective and stuff like that. I understand if a guy volleys a shot in and there's two lads standing offside in a keeper's line and it gets missed. I understand if things like that get missed.
Because it's in the opinion of them, but there's no opinion in this. This is black and white.
This is on those guys. This is 100, and it's not even on the technology. It's on those guys.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
I've had conversations. Sorry, because I've had conversations with people today, and we were chatting about it. Like, there's two people now on the VAR, which is great. It should be great. When you go back, and I've said this on the program before, go back to Euro 2020. In each game, there's 5 officials in the VAR, right? So you had one guy that was looking mainly at offsides, one guy handballs, red cards, blah, blah, blah. So say there was a red card, you'd get your man who's in charge of red cards would go over it, but the 4 lads would come around them and stand over it and look and say, right, how come you've come to that decision? Now, listen, with 5 people, you're going to get 5 different opinions. It's in their opinion. There was only one mistake I can remember in Euro 2020, and that's when I think it was Sterling got fouled by Kasper Schmeichel. They didn't give the penalty. That's the only one decision they didn't talk about because they had 5 officials. Now, what this comes down to is the FA need to invest. They need to have more referees. When you think about it, and I've said this before, Premier League referees are the lowest paid referees in the top 5 leagues in Europe. The FA need to...
Unless they're moonlighting in the UAE. Well, that's a different thing. Yeah, we have to talk about that as well, don't we?
But they're the lowest paid. The FA need investment. They need to work on workshops, train them, these referees. Now, what I also think as well is there should have been 12 years ago, there should have been a separate entity of VAR. So the referees and the VAR don't overlap. It's different people. It's not people that are refereeing on a week-to-week basis. Because we've had the discussion where their mates are on VAR or their mates are in and they don't want to.
You're not going to sling your mate out to dry, and that's what
exactly.
That's kind of how it went. That's how it went on Saturday.
Exactly. Like you look at it, average is about 1,200 a game for a referee in the Premier League. Okay, 12 to 1,500. They're refereeing lads that are on 350,000 a week. The FA need to invest more money. And this starts at grassroots. If you invest more money in the likes of League 1, League 2, you're going to open the door to more referees coming into the game. You're opening the door to diversity. And the more referees you have, the better. Because then you can start putting 5 people on each game. They can't do that at the moment because they don't have enough officials to be able to do it. And it all comes back to the FA. You look at the FA spent 110 million on St. George's Park. What have they invested into the referees? Yeah, they've done the VAR, but there's been no training. They need to invest in the training. I'm sick of saying it. Like, people can come out and they can slate referees, which is fair enough. But till you put a whistle in their mouth, then come back to me because you know all about it. You have to learn every single law of the game. You know, it all comes back down to money and the FA not investing. This is what's going to happen. Until they do that, we're going to keep on having these conversations. How many times have we been talking about VAR on the Monday mashup?
Blow on our face.
Exactly. So that's what it comes down to is investment. If they invest, you get more referees. You get, like, obviously Howard Webbs has come in and he's wanted to, you know, with the rebrand, basically the game, the referee side of things.
That guy has spent a year just issuing apologies.
That's
He's
the
just spent
thing.
a year issuing apologies. It's a waste of
Like,
time.
you look at
Nothing.
it.
If anything, since he's come in, it's gotten worse.
Look, the objective was for the time wasting at the start of the season. We were looking at 11, 12, 8 minutes and all this added on to games at the end.
Which they've already backtracked on that.
Exactly. Now,
They've
Howard Webb,
already, so
when's the last time you seen a 10-minute added on at the end of a game? Howard Webb is making himself look a fool. But like I said, it comes down to the FA not investing in referees. Like I said, imagine, like, this is meant to be the greatest league in the world and one of the worst paid referees of Europe. Like, it's an absolute disgrace.
A couple of things stuck out to me this week. One was, or last week, I should say. One was we had the announcement of this high-profile bribery thing with Barcelona. So that was automatically injecting referees into the spotlight. Then we hear that the story came out on TalkSport that the Saudi Arabia were looking to bring Premier League referees over there. And then all of a sudden we find out that these boys were over there on Thursday on a junket 2 days before a really big high-profile game. Yeah. Both teams playing really well. Both teams up around the top of the league. Both teams looking to be in a title race or top four or whatever you want to call it. This was a big profile game. Both teams in really good form. Both teams playing well and all that kind of. So this was a big, big game. And they were doing that. But then, even after that, if you look at the Forest and Brentford game yesterday, and you look at the clearance that Matt Turner missed, and he nearly castrated your man. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like, absolutely nothing. And I'm thinking, okay, you made an absolute bags of it on Saturday night. You own your true colours from what it is and stuff like that. And then they go out on Sunday, and it's more errors.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, I'm hearing a lot and reading on social media about miking up referees and stuff. Yes, you'd have more respect when you hear referees' decision, but it works it's totally different to rugby. The lads that play rugby are taught in school from a very early age not to give any back chat to the referee. Imagine you're at 12:30 kickoff, you're sitting down with your young lad on a Saturday morning, and the effing and blind you hear now. Obviously, one thing
we've seen it. We've seen it at underage level, both of us as a coach and a ref. So we've seen all that. I've had words with parents and everything, plenty of time. So that, but the only thing that really concerns me, and it's just when you look at European football, we will watch the Champions League this week. We watch the Europa League and the Europa Conference or whatever it is. Within 3 days of that all finishing, come next Saturday or Sunday, I couldn't tell you the name of any referee that refereed those games.
Yeah.
But yet I can tell you nearly most of the Premier League referees and officials.
Yeah.
And
it's just, basically.
You see them walking out onto the pitch, Mark, and they realise that batteries aren't working, communication isn't working, all these things. They just want to be on the camera all the time. And when you look at the European games, like you look at your game tomorrow night against Galatasaray, I lay odds within 2 or 3 days of that. Now, I'm assuming, and it's a call I'm making, but within 2 or 3 days of that, me and you probably won't even realise who the referee was. He'll be anonymous on the pitch, basically. They've just a totally different way. Look at the World Cup and how well it worked. They went straight in. Decisions were made. Most of it was on point. Nothing really got away. Maybe 1 or 2 decisions, stuff like that. But we're getting a clusterfuck of decisions here in the Premier League. The biggest league in the world, the expensive league in the world with the most amount of money. I get your point about investing in training and all this kind of thing and stuff like that. But it's just so frustrating. You know what I mean? And like, what's the course of action? Morris mentioned here that they scored a dodgy goal against Sheffield United and they replayed the game in '99 in the FA Cup and stuff like that. We've seen the apology coming out and all this kind of thing. We've heard from Liverpool that they're exploring legal action or whatever it is. We get fined. Like we're a team, Mark, that generally is in around the fair play award most seasons. Now we're beginning to look like the dirtiest team in the league. And now we're getting fined today. They fined us something like 25 grand today from all these cards or whatever it is. Like, it just doesn't, like, do people not see what's going on? Like, it's just like, a ruse.
And what you said about the Champions League as well, like, UEFA have more referees to choose from, obviously, being from the whole of Europe. Like, tomorrow we could get, say, officials from Holland. Holland are the second best paid referees in Europe. investment always goes into the referees there. They should, Morris, but like I said, until the FA invests, you're not going to get that. You're going to get your substandard referees that we've been seeing and decisions. And like I know these decisions can cost clubs millions of pounds, but like I said, until the FA start investing, and I'm talking grassroots right all the way up, that's not going to happen.
Is there a call, Mark, from refs for different countries to be brought into ref games in different countries? Is there a case where the Prem refs should go to Holland and the Dutch refs should come to England to ref games? So there's none of this kind of banter. There's none of this kind of local tribalism. There's none of this, like you see, here was a Mike Dean at Tranmere and he's up on their railings giving it socks and all. Now listen, everyone's entitled to follow a team if they want. Everyone's entitled to a social life. Referees are human just like everyone else. But these referees, and I spoke on a podcast about it, and I said it today on my own reaction as well, these are the custodians of the rules of the game. These are the guys who should be on the pitch managing things. You're down at that level of refereeing, and I know that if you were on the pitch on Saturday night and that was going on with the Ogo Jota, the first thing you go over is you go over, grab him by the shoulder and say, listen, calm down. You're going to get another yellow and you're going to end up getting a red. That's what Kalina would do. That's what the lad from Germany we spoke about would do.
That's common sense, isn't it?
These guys are looking to send guys off and issue cards because they want to be seen, to be on TV, to be kicking back because of disrespecting and all that kind of thing. And they're making the game even worse. Mo Salah getting booked the other day out of frustration. Mo Salah is probably the kindest, most decent human being on the planet. You've seen him getting upended in boxes and all, and he doesn't go down for penalties and all. He's as honest as the day is, bright or whatever it is. And you just look at him and you're there going out of frustration. He's getting booked, kicking the ball away and all this kind of thing. It's just, and this is them losing control of games, not managing the games properly, and just looking after their own end, get as much camera time as they can with these kind of decisions. And it's just, it's so poor.
Like I said, like that Jota one, to me, it's common sense. Like I remember years ago, I think I told the story a good few years ago on the mission, but I was out at Castleknock. They were playing Cardiff, local little derby over there, under 13s. Castleknock were getting beaten 6-1, and Cardiff had an opportunity, and the Castleknock player punched the ball over. He was a centre half. They took a shot, keeper missed it. He punched it over the bar. I gave a penalty. Laws of the game state. I should have given a red card.
Yeah.
But like the team are getting beaten 6-1. It's in injury time. I'm thinking, like, common sense. I'm not gonna send the young lad off and really.
And then you have to write a report, and the club has to get in touch with the league and. So the kid's getting a ban.
So I gave me yellow card, penalty Cardiff. Cardiff ended up winning 7-1. Cardiff manager came over to me after and he shook my hand. Good game, referee. He says, by the way, he says, fair play to you for sending that young lad off Castleknock. He goes, it was a correct decision. He said it was nearly the last kick of the game. There's no need for it, So common sense intervenes. And like that Jota one, that's common sense. Listen, have a little word with him. Say, listen, you're on the yellow. Next one. It'd be a second yellow.
But the thing about it as well is whatever about the second yellow, the first yellow where your man basically trips himself
up.
You know what I mean? So if you've given a yellow for that, and of course someone should be in your ear from VAR, someone should be in your ear saying, he kind of tripped himself there. That was a soft one, ref. Let the other one go. Balance it out. Yeah. You know what I mean? We're up to 90 here. We're down to 10 men. Now we're down to 9 men. Yeah. And even at 10 men, we were still attacking Spurs. We were still trying to create stuff and all, you know what I mean?
100%.
And even
like you said, he's playing as a team.
Even at 9 men, we sat back in, and Szoboszlai was trying to play himself down the channels, basically as the forward player and stuff like that. But it's absolutely crazy.
And again, like obviously, you can't rescind the yellow. VAR is not there for that. You can cancel out a yellow to upgrade it to a red. But unfortunately, it's one of those things where it's a yellow card. Even if the VAR were like, lad, you got that one wrong, it still stands as a caution, unfortunately.
I get Morris's point. Why do they even announce the referees before the games? Because you know what the problem is, Morris? It doesn't matter who they announce because they're all getting things wrong. It's across the board. I know some of them are a bit more card trigger happy than others, but they're all getting stuff wrong. There's no tell me a good Premier League referee at the moment. Tell me
I
one. Like every time they announce the referees, every week I turn around and go, him,
I know
and
it's
you're saying
mad.
it for everyone. And even with
Like
the guys in the VAR thing, you're going, him.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
no,
It's
like
just
a few years ago, I used to like Michael Oliver, but it seems the more he's been in the Premier League reffing, the worse he's gotten. Like
yeah.
So, but yeah, like
It's
I said,
just
it's
what do you
frustrating.
think will be the outcome now? I know Liverpool have
Excuse me.
requested a copy of the audio.
Yeah, um,
What do you think? Do you reckon something could potentially come out of this? I don't know. I called for all the travelling fans to get refunded the cost of their trip
right. Yeah.
as a
Um,
starting point, as
well,
a
what I
token
will say
gesture.
is, yeah, no. Listen, if they're not going to invest in referees, they certainly won't be putting their hands in their pocket to do that. Although it is a good idea, it won't happen. Um, the Liverpool have every right to get the audio of that. The unfortunate thing is, all that will happen now is the lads who are in charge will be banned, obviously, from some games, and that be it. They'll be back in a few weeks doing the exact same thing. There's nothing else they can do.
Yeah, it's just so frustrating when you look at it. You know what I mean? And then it's not even that. Then you have your man Poirot with the celebration into the crowd, no
Mm.
booking. Now
Yeah,
I know tempers were flared. I know it was heightened. I know when you're celebrating like that, injury time OG to win a huge game, a lot of pressure on 11 versus 9. It would have been horrible for them as a draw. But then what's the story after the
mm.
game? Then having a lap of honour and bringing kids onto the
I
pitch and all like they
understand
just won an
that.
FA
Yeah,
Cup or something, and
yeah, it
they're
was
going,
mad.
"This is why you're that club. This is why
Yeah.
you're that club." You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
no, it
And
is.
it's
It's
just
crazy. And what frustrated me as well when I seen the decision, and then you think about, I seen a clip of one of the Liverpool fans. Like these lads work their arses off week in, week out to pay money to get tickets. Now it's different in Anfield. They might live there, but they're traveling to London. London is probably the most expensive place to go out of any of the Premier League areas,
absolutely.
and they're treated to that, that decision that's absolutely ruined their
And the game
weekend.
started out great. The first
Yeah,
15, 20
yeah,
minutes of the game was brilliant. It was back and forward.
end to
We were
end, yeah,
involved. We were breaking their lines. They were coming at us and stuff like that. It had all the makings of a classic Premier League game.
yeah,
And then it
and
gets
then
destroyed by these lads who want to become famous, who are thinking about getting jobs on Sky Sports or BT or whatever in the future. This referee watching all this kind of stuff. It's absolutely shocking the way they did it. And then I got
well,
these 3 slides today. These are the 3 slides from all the different
I mean,
apologies that have
oh
been
yeah, from
issued.
there,
And you
yeah.
could probably put another 20 apologies on top of that weren't issued. You
Like
know
I
what I
said,
mean?
like
It's
12
just,
years ago when they were first initially talking about this, nearly 13 years ago now, they should have gotten a committee together to just run VAR and not be run by the referees, assistant referees, or anything like that. That's what should have been done. Again, it wasn't. We had was it back in Jesus, this going back a good few years. It must have been about 2014 or 2015. We were at a referees meeting, and David Ellery had asked 52 former players from Premier League down to League One, League Two about teaching them the laws of the game, getting involved in that side of things. 2 out of 52 said yes. The other,
yeah.
the other 50 didn't want to know about it. That type of way.
Yeah, I
And
think
these are
in
lads that
fairness,
played the game.
yeah. Now, in fairness, I think trying to change things like that, it's easier to talk about it than it is to implement it. We know
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Like,
no, 100%. Like,
it's so
yeah,
difficult and stuff like that.
like you look at the likes of Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville going to St. George's Park to train as a referee, for the whatever the program it was like, but it's never going to happen. But what I do think is the referee should be separate entity to the VAR. They shouldn't overlap.
Yeah,
Until that's
yeah.
changed, I think we're going to have this same conversation week in, week out about decisions.
I suppose the only thing about that, even if it becomes a separate entity, is they're kind of still gonna buddy up some way, aren't they? Like they're still gonna be like if I'm sitting in VAR and I'm nothing to do with the referee's body and you're refereeing,
Yeah.
somewhere along the line, we're still going to become mates somewhere along the line, aren't we? At some stage,
I
even
know
if you
what you're
separate.
saying. Yeah, but
I'm
you
not
should
saying as
try.
cozy. I'm not saying as cozy as it looks now,
No, yeah.
but
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 like,
it's just
if they do, they could try keep them separate. And obviously they're in Stockley Park, and Michael Oliver's in Bleeding Turf Moor, or where at St James's Park or wherever. Like, it's just they have to try something different, because obviously what they're doing now isn't working. So when something isn't working, you have to try fix it. You can't keep flogging the dead horse. But like I said, the FA need to meet up. They need to invest. I've been blue in the face saying it about the referees in the Premier League. Like,
well, see, if there isn't action taken now, the credibility of the Premier League is in question now, isn't it? Because think about it. What happens if we project ourselves all the way to May and we lose the league by a point, or Spurs win the league by a point, or Spurs lose the league? You know what I mean? Like, it's it's such a shit show. Like,
it is, and like, for a Premier League, you got a Premier League referee on 1,200 a game, which to me and you and everyone else, 90 minutes work or whatever, 1,200, I take it, right? But I could go out and referee an under 17s game or an under 18s on Sunday morning and get 50, 60 quid. Like, do you know what I mean? When you make the comparisons, like, say I done two under 17s games on a Sunday morning, that's 100 quid into the hand, and they're only getting 1,200 for doing what is meant to be the best league in the world.
What's into the hand?
Well, you don't get paid enough as a referee to get taxed. That's the first thing you learn. Never mind the laws of the game. You don't get paid enough to get taxed. But it's just, listen, it's not going to change until something is done by the FA.
Absolutely. Right, let's have a quick chat about European fixtures this week. United versus Galatasaray tomorrow night.
I don't have a good feeling about it. Listen, if we can play like we did against Palace,
that's true.
Last week, what was it? Spurs won't be
anywhere near the league.
Yeah, true. If we played the way we played against Palace in the League Cup, I'd be hopeful of maybe a draw. We have isn't Zaha playing for Galatasaray?
That's right, up front, scored at the weekend, actually.
Yeah, seeing that, yeah. So
weekend, as far as I know,
it's always a tough one. Like, when you have a team from Turkey in the group, you always want to beat them at home, because going over there is a nightmare. Against the likes of the Galatasarays, Besiktas's, Fenerbahce's. You need to be picking up points at home. So, I think it's going to be a draw, to be honest with you. Daisy making all the noise in the background there.
It's certainly a weird one, all right. We're still 85 minutes in, still 2-0 by the looks of things. So Chelsea look like they're on course to pick up some points there, as they say. Isn't there another player from the Premier League playing for Galatasaray as well, as far as I know, isn't there? Or am I wrong?
One or two of them went over there. And yourself, tax-free wages in Turkey for a season or two, you'll take that. Because I think that Zaha got like a 2 million or 3 million signing on fee, and obviously he's tax free then as well. So
he got a great deal, and he turned down a huge offer from Palace as well. Didn't they offer him 180 grand a week or something like that?
They did, yeah. Listen, 1 or 2 seasons over in Turkey, come back with a nice wedge in your pocket, and probably get a move to
Lucas Torreira. Isn't that the lad off Arsenal?
Arsenal, yeah.
They've a serious team there. Looking at it, Dries Mertens is playing for them. McCarthy is up front.
So you look at over the years, like the likes of
Davison Sanchez.
Remember
Davison Sanchez
that played for Spurs.
Sanchez. He's only after counter. He was at Spurs last season, wasn't he? Yeah.
He's a centre half.
Not too shabby at all.
Like I said, hopefully we can get a draw, but you never know. Galatasaray could nick it.
Yeah, Morrison, Davison Sanchez. The only thing that would give United a lot of hope if Davison Sanchez is playing in defence, because he is absolutely.
He do us a favour.
It's a big one though for Ten Hag, isn't it? Is he? Would you see him making those decisions on a Champions League night with the pressure on, needing a win?
We're gonna see what kind of character he has now, wouldn't you?
But imagine putting Rashford on the bench there, and it doesn't work out.
listen, it's one of those games where you have to take chances. If you don't start Rashford, maybe we could see a different Rashford if he comes off the bench and he's trying to win a game. You know, it's that mentality. If it's not working, try something else.
Yeah.
Garnacho has been chomping at the bit to start a game. I thought he's done all right. Maybe Palestri on the other side. Will Anthony be involved as well?
Hopefully, get a draw at home to Galatasaray. Jesus,
Morris, have you not seen the way we've been playing lately? We were lucky. We were lucky to beat Wolves first game of the season, and we were damn lucky to beat Burnley as well.
and Forest.
And Forest, and the last two
And a
home games we
10-man
were beaten.
Forest. And a 10-man Forest member.
So I take a draw at this stage, Morris. Trust me, man. But I think show his character now and see what changes he'll make. You know, Hannibal has to start anyway, and hopefully we can see. Like I was saying to me, Dad, I have a funny feeling he might give Johnny Evans a run out and stuff like that. You know.
At least you're honest.
That's it, man. That's it.
Yeah, I think Arsenal will have too much for Lens.
I think. Listen, Arsenal could make 6 or 7 changes, and I think they still beat them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to the bottom 2 games. Newcastle, PSG. That's going to be great at St James.
Imagine the atmosphere up there tomorrow, man. Oh my God! Like,
I think are they tomorrow or are they tomorrow or
or Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday. Yeah.
I think so. I'm not too sure.
I remember going up there. My cousin stag do a few years ago, and Newcastle were playing West Ham on the Saturday, and we said we'd go just to break up the day, because you know yourself. Otherwise, you're in Witherspoons at 8 o'clock in the morning and you're bleeding. But it was only a Newcastle West Ham game, and the atmosphere, I swear to God, because you get goosebumps. It's probably like you know, in Anfield when they start singing "You Never Walk Alone." Literally got goosebumps. It was unbelievable. So that place will be rocking tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I suppose sitting in with the West Ham fans at an away game would give you goosebumps anyway, wouldn't it? Let's be honest.
Well, we were in with the Newcastle fans, thank God.
Oh, were you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
we
and then Leipzig Man City could be a tricky one as well. I mean, coming off a bad result against Wolves, players missing. Although Rodri will be back, won't he? Because his Champions League, so his ban is only in.
That doesn't count
domestic,
for that,
isn't it? So,
he'll be okay. No, Pep, he'll actually, is his ban? His ban doesn't carry into the Champions League either? It's still trying ban, doesn't it? So he'll be back on the sideline. It'd be an end-to-end game. You could listen, if Leipzig went and scored an early goal against a run of play or something like that, it'd make it a really interesting night. But if City are going to win, I can only see them winning by a goal.
Yeah, Morris is saying as well, Luton versus Burnley tomorrow, the catch-up game, isn't it? Because the ground wasn't ready.
Yeah, the ground wasn't ready in time.
Well. It's kind of a killer for them as well, putting that game on the Champions League night, isn't it? It's a bit of a kicker as well, isn't it? You know, like everyone's going to be glued to United.
Luton's confidence be sky high after the win and Goodison over the weekend. So, and it's good to see Albonne getting a run in the team and doing well for them as well. You know.
Yeah. Morris saying massive game for company as well. Yeah, he's kind of.
It is.
Can't be coming out with these games talking about playing great football and getting nothing out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
like I said, that happened to Wolves. Yeah. No, that happened to Wolves. At least they got something, but they're the same. They are playing good football, but it's a results business, as we all know. And if the 3 points aren't on the board, you're going to be under pressure, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Freiburg versus West Ham. That'll be an interesting one, but I don't see any change there. Marseille versus Brighton is going to be an interesting game. Yeah. The Serbia under a bit of pressure at the moment, and after what happened on Saturday, God help Union when they come to Anfield. That could be a cricket score.
Yeah,
and then we've got Brighton away at the weekend as well, and
that'll be a tough one.
Yeah, well, I think the lads are going to be pumped up now. I think after what happened on Saturday, I think they're going to have a serious point to prove over the next 5 to 10 games.
So do Brighton as well, don't they? Because after last week's, they'll be wanting a big response off them. So it'd be a decent game, you know. It'd be one of those open games. I think
Evan's gone, isn't he? Because he's out for the qualifiers as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
Evan Ferguson, so he's gone again. So they're just
the mighty Danny Welbeck.
Yeah,
he's done well. Yeah. It's like he's revived his career, you know, whatever way the manager's gotten him to play. So, no, that'd be a good game the weekend.
Arsenal will be chasing him again. There's Larry Murphy playing for Malaga versus Aston Villa.
Him and Jimmy Savile up front of this.
Yeah, it's Morris. It's Molestar. Excuse me. I went and double checked what I had typed. I thought, Daddy, you got me.
Trust Morris to pick up that.
Oh, I tell you, big time. Yeah, so that's it. That's it. What have you made of this? I just wanted to get your thoughts on this. I flashed it up earlier, but this whole injury thing.
Yeah.
Give me your thoughts on this. What's you thinking on this at the moment? What's happening? Is it volume of games? Is it added on time? Is it poor health departments in these clubs and fitness departments? Is it sports science is pushing these guys too far? Or is it a collection of all of the above?
I think it is.
It's huge at the moment, isn't it?
I think it is. I think as a sport, they're all athletes now. You look back to the 90s, you look back at the Premier League years and stuff like that, and you see the likes of your Neil Ruddocks, your Jan Mobies, and your Julian Dixon, these types of players and stuff like that. These train at the highest level. That a little flick of a leg or something like that, they're down injured. That type of way, and their training regimes are. Yeah.
Since he got that mullet, he's been flying.
Stay at that bleeding thing. But I just think with the sports science type of thing and like the training regimes and stuff like that, you remember yourself and all those, and probably Morris when you were younger. Right hand 1, left hand 2, 3 jump down. Like it's all changed now completely. Their diets and all that changed as well. But I do think the international side of things has a lot to do with it as well. The tournaments over the summers, and your
I think players. I think the thing about it there as well is I think players back then, it wasn't 24/7, 365. You didn't have the draw on you. You were able to go in and train, and you could go off and have a game of golf or a game of snooker. You could have a point or two. You could decompress out of that whole thing. Now what you're doing is you're going in early, you're doing your food, you're doing your morning session or whatever it is, you're breaking, getting a bit of lunch, then you're doing your afternoon session. And then after that, then you've got sponsorship stuff, you've got media appearances, you've got anything for Man U TV or LFC TV or whatever it is. You've got so much going on that you don't get away with it. And then when you get home and you want to chill out and decompress, then you're getting this bombardment of social media coming at you. So you can't escape it. It's 24/7. The other thing I'd say is, remember years ago as well, those boys carried a bit more baggage than the guys these days, so they could get clattered out of it and they could take it. Nowadays, these guys are running around the pitch, they're absolutely shredded. Their body fat is checked on a weekly basis or whatever it is. And all the outputs from the science is crazy.
The pitches are way better as well. You go back and look at the pitches and how people didn't break their legs and stuff like that more with the way the pitches were. They're like carpets now. They're like I brought my godson Callum up to Tallaght Stadium on Friday night for the Rover Shells game, and the pitch up there is absolutely immaculate. And the week before, I brought him to St. Pat's in Dundalk. I'm trying to introduce him into League of Ireland and see what team he wants to support. But even St. Pat's, like the infrastructure won't be great down in Inchicore, but their pitch is absolutely immaculate. No, they are absolutely.
It's not so much the payment thing. Sometimes I wonder, Morris, are they bringing too much science to it? That's what I mean. The guys back then were carrying a bit of weight on them and stuff like that and all, So maybe when you get a lot of the injuries that you see these days as well, they're not straight up injuries. A lot of them are kind of, knocks and and that kind of thing. And you're wondering, like, if you were carrying a little bit more baggage on you, would you be able to take that knock a bit better than if it's going straight onto the muscle or something like that? It's not necessarily the draw on their time and stuff like that, but if you're not, a lot of your recovery as well as mental recovery, it's not just physical muscle recovery. I mean, your brain plays a huge part in this as well. That's why they've gone so big into the sports science and cognitive function and all that kind of stuff, because it's your brain that sends the signals for your muscles to recover and stuff like that. The diet takes care of itself, because most of these guys have food prepared for them and it's all laid on at the club and everything. The best of food. So like these lads used to be going out for a fly in the morning time and everything and all, you know what I mean? So it's a different world now, but I do think that's part of it. You know what I mean? I think they've brought it to such a science now. You see these lads when they score and they whip off a jersey, they're like little mini bodybuilders at this stage and stuff like that. No,
You won't
and I'm just
you
wondering,
won't be getting them in Londis queuing up for a breakfast roll on a Sunday
and
morning, will you?
I'm just wondering, are they picking up a lot of impact injuries? You know, where like you hear like a guy got a dead leg and he's going to be out for a week, and suddenly he's gone for a month from a dead leg. You're there going, surely you can knock a dead leg off you and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
It's the pace of the game as well. The pace has increased like tenfold.
Yeah.
Like I said, if a player's running at you and you just brush off him, he can go down and really hurt himself because of the pace that he's going at as well,
And the equipment. When you think of the development of the boots and everything else, and everything is so much lighter, the lads are wearing the lads are wearing shin guards and all that kind of stuff that are like tiny if they even wear them.
Like that size, like.
So it's a lot of stuff has improved or has changed. I'm just wondering, has it improved in the right way when you see a kind of just the level of knocks that players and all are picking up constantly, Morris saying we don't open Sundays.
Gee, what type of shop is that, Morris? Not opening on a Sunday.
Wouldn't get away with that in Lucan.
No, definitely not. It'd be straight down there.
There'd be a campaign. Yeah, so it's just really to get your thoughts. And then Morris, as Morris said earlier, Wolves must be doing a great job down the bottom with 0.
Shit, that's unreal, isn't it? Like,
yeah, I wonder when you look at that and you look at, say, you look at Wolves, West Ham, Forest, Man City. Well, obviously Forest and Wolves obviously are playing like kind of one game a week, bar the domestic cups, stuff like that. So they're not.
Then you've City there as well.
You've City down there as well with 3. Fulham 4, Everton 4. And then I suppose when you look at this as well, you have to look at the names on it as well, because you could have 3 lads that are 23, 24, 25 in the squad or something like that. They're on the outskirts nearly, just barely in it, But then some of them have key injuries. Like if you look at Chelsea with 10 injuries there, Reece James, vital to them. Kunku, vital to them. Chilwell, vital to them. All these players, Fofana at the back, vital to them. Badashile, vital to them, what I mean? So it's a different kind of thing than if you're kind of losing someone who's on the outskirts just trying to break in or something like that, So sometimes looking at the numbers don't necessarily paint the picture,
No, 100%.
He says it's a country shop. He has to go to mass. Should be selling the breakfast rolls outside the church.
There's a little
fresh. Get one of those
side earner for you there, Morris.
A little side earner into the hand, Marky.
Does Morris do the music at the mass?
I'd say he would do a set of music, all right. Maybe not the type of music. Morris will spend tunes. Morris will spend tunes for anyone that fills his wallet. Don't worry about that.
My kind of man.
Yeah, so that's it. There's not a whole lot else to talk about. What did you make? Of course, of the Barcelona allegations?
Yeah, I was just reading about that. What's the story with La Liga all the time and all this corruption and stuff like that? It's mental, like.
Serie A has its own version of it.
Well, listen,
but you know what I'm looking at these days? I'm looking at it like, if you think about it, actually, big shout out as well, R.I.P. Jake Abraham, who passed away. I think it was yesterday or Saturday I think it was pancreatic cancer. He was Kenny and Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. Remember the Scousers? Passed away. Yeah. So very, very sad to hear him passing away. I loved that movie. One of my all-time favorites. I think it was prostate cancer. He was only 56, and I think he was only diagnosed. Am I right in hearing he was only diagnosed back in October or January or something like that?
It was July.
Yeah, very, very, very sad. So look, I love that movie. That's one of my all-time favorites. I would watch that at least once a month. The two boys are just crazy in it, aren't they?
It's class. I started watching Rise of the Foot Soldiers. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, they're crazy. Aren't they? Did you watch the Marbella one?
Yeah. Oh my god.
The Marbella one is mental, but still funny at the same time. But just R.I.P. Jake Abraham. I meant to mention at the start of the show and stuff like that, and of course. But before we go, hang on. I know all about Into the Hand too.
Oh yes, it's the best way, Morris.
Before we go, Hogan Elite Trophy here. Tell us about it. You are our sponsors this year for the Monday Match.
I had a picture up there the other day. The Man United treble package. I said the original is always the best. We've the full size Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup. And we've a World Cup there as well that we hire out for all occasions, even Sunday Mass down in Kilkenny if you want the trophies outside. Although you probably want the Liam McCarthy, which I can get my hands on as well. So yeah, just we're on Facebook, Instagram, and my numbers there if you ever want to WhatsApp or inquiries and stuff like that.
Send me on some stuff. I'll do up a slide for the show for next week and stuff like that.
100%.
Whatever it is, I had that slide for the first show we did, and then I can't find that slide anywhere.
Me and Yap Stam.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, brilliant stuff. Pity you didn't have a Ryder Cup over the weekend. Congratulations to Europe on a great win. It was a bit iffy at one stage, but they pulled it out of the back. Yeah,
I only see bits and pieces. I'm not the biggest golf fan. I was watching a bit of snooker then over the weekend. I'm more of a snooker man myself. The British Masters was on. Mark Williams won that. So between that and giving out about Manchester United, I just watched a bit of golf there yesterday. What happened with Rory? Did he have a fight with one of the caddies or something like that?
Yeah, now one of the caddies was on the green and Rory was lining up a shot. It was the American caddy, and he was in Rory's line for the putt, I think, and he started waving his cap, getting the crowd going. And Rory took offense with all. But if you watch, I don't know if you watched, did you watch the golf documentary on Netflix?
No.
You won't believe how cunty that sport is.
Really?
It's mad. They have a proper go off each other, yeah. And don't give me this gentleman sport thing. And then Shane Lowry went to get involved as well. He was going to clock the caddy. Yeah, he had to go because they had to go outside the hotel as well. Did you see that when they were getting into the cars?
I read about that. I think Talk Sport put up a thing about that there the other day.
Apparently yesterday morning, the morning of the singles, apparently they got together and they had a talk about it, and it was all put to bed and stuff like that.
Well, I will tell you, I have been watching a sporting documentary on Netflix, and it was one that you done a review on, but I haven't watched it. Yeah.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Mad.
Did you watch the Kurt Angle one yet?
No.
The Kurt Angle one is fantastic. I'm doing a review of it tomorrow night. Kurt Angle
What's the story? I was watching the wrestlers the other day. Your man Matt, the owner, they're all there having a meeting, and next one, it's just like
He has a seizure. Yeah, absolutely. Mad, scary seeing it on screen, wasn't it?
Jim Cornette's not involved with OVW at all, is he?
No, used to be.
Sorry, Ian, if you're watching where wrestling top, but I haven't been watched the current product in years, but I love all these little documentaries and stuff like that. Yeah, no,
it's great. I love the Kurt Angle one is fantastic. Fantastic. Goes right through and all, and his dad passing away and his sister passing away and all. It's tough going, and when you see what he went through and it talks about the addiction to the drink and the pain pills and all that kind of stuff, it's great to see he's turned his life around. It's all good now, and he's with the missus and all. She's a beautiful girl as well, and they've lovely kids and everything and all, so it's fantastic.
Is it his missus ran off with Jeff Jarrett or something like that, was it?
Yeah, I think at the time. No, it was. I think at the time. Well, Kurt didn't run off with Jeff Jarrett, I'm sure.
No. Like, did he run off with Angle's wife? It was Jarrett.
No, I think what happened is they had already separated, and then it just came together and stuff like that. And I think it's as far as I know, it's all good. But I don't know.
It's straight after this.
They were all in TNA at the time.
Yes, yeah. And I'm gonna go in straight after this and watch another episode of Wrestlers. There, it's actually quite good.
Isn't it?
It is like obviously, Neil of OVW, Jim Cornette always talks about it on his podcast and stuff like that. I love hearing all the old stories when you see Al Snow there and stuff like that, and they're trying to sell these tickets and then your man Matt hasn't gone around all these fairground places and this, that, and the other, and it's mad,
It's amazing the difference between a wrestler's perspective of what needs to be done and a guy who's pumping the cash in and wants to earn money and his perspective of what needs to be done.
You see when he's talking, like Al Snow's biting his lip, he's just like. And then he'll be like, listen, forget everything he said. This is the way we're going to do it. Like, do you know what I mean? So,
absolutely.
And it's mad. Al Snow's in his office and there's a pay-per-view coming up and all of them are coming in. Oh, I have this idea. And he's just like, oh my God. Get rid of them all. Like.
Yeah, and then he just keeps on saying to them, no, well, we won't be doing that. And we won't be doing that. Doug Basham is there, isn't he? He keeps saying to them, we won't be doing any of this.
No, he's the head trainer or something, isn't he, there at the minute? So.
No, it's very good and it's well worth watching stuff like that. But tomorrow night I'm going to be doing a review of Kurt Angle, so absolutely watch that. It's brilliant.
I'll definitely watch it. 100%.
Wednesday I have Pro Wrestling Weekly, so of course we'll be talking about Edge and his jump to AEW, all that kind of stuff. Then Thursday Tier Talk. I'll have the Dazzler on. I'm sure he'll be losing their mind either about Man United or about VAR or whatever it is, and we'll do our beat the bookie as always as well.
I must start throwing in a few more bets. I haven't been doing any of them. I'll do a bet for you for beat the bookie this week.
Absolutely, send it on to me and we'll have a bit of crack. So as always, folks, thanks for joining us tonight. Kind of a slightly different show. We had a lot of refereeing topics and all to talk about and stuff like that. I'd prefer if we had none, but that's just the way it goes. Of course, subscribe to the channel, the upper tier, hit the bell notification, drop a like on the video, share the content, and I'll be back with you tomorrow. But Mark, you'll be back next Monday, and hopefully we won't be talking about VAR or referees or any of that stuff. Until next time, folks, stay safe, have a good week. Cheers, Mark.
Cheers, guys.